Hi, it's Katie Mackenzie, mortgage professional with Team G the Mortgage Group and your host of I Love Vancouver Real Estate. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. It's my pleasure to be here with Wanda Woods, who is an independent insurance broker licensed at Central Agencies Ltd. She assists her clients all over BC with their home, construction, business, sports, and special events insurance needs. Office packages, commercial general liability, accident medical coverage, directors and officers liability, errors and omissions liability, professional liability, product liability, commercial property coverage, contractors liability, home-based business insurance, as well as home, condo, and tenant insurance, which we will focus on today. Wanda, welcome.
Thanks, Katie. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So did I leave anything out in your introduction that you wanted to add about, a day in the life of Wanda Woods?
Basically what I work with the most is, business owners and young professionals or professionals of any age that need help with all their insurance needs. So I take care of their home, I can take care of their car insurance, and then I can work with them on their business insurance. So sort of one-stop shopping for all their insurance needs.
So if we speak specifically to, the majority of our listeners who are, first-time home buyers, second, third, and looking to buy homeowners insurance, what should they be asking when they approach you to buy home insurance?
Well, usually what we'll do, first question I always ask my clients is, are you purchasing a condo or are you purchasing a single family home? And are you purchasing it to live in or are you purchasing it as a rental unit? Because all of those things are going to make a difference on what information we're going to need from them to get them a quote with the right client or the right company and with the right coverage.
Okay. So what is covered in different insurance types? So, people will say, well, I need homeowners insurance, and then that's dependent on the type of property. But what is covered? Why are they coming to you for the insurance?
Well, first thing, whenever you're putting a mortgage on a property, the first thing they're always going to ask for is fire insurance. Mm-hmm. So if your house burns down, you are still responsible for paying for the mortgage, even if the dwelling's not there. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to just have a piece of land with burnt out. So first thing it's going to do is cover you for fire insurance. And then we've got all the other add-ons that we add. The big claims that I see the most, being it's BC, is water damage. Especially in condos. We have a lot of those claims that are happening. So probably water is what I see the most. Fire, maybe second. A lot of theft claims. So things get stolen from your home. People don't have a tendency to make those claims as much as they used to because things become cheaper to replace. But what I always say to clients is those things that you can't afford to handle financially yourself are the things that you want to have insurance for.
So I know there's been a number of circumstances downtown where, you have a tenant and they roll the bath out, it floods down 3 levels. So what kind of coverage should someone have when they're in a condo tower like that for water damage? Yeah,
it does get quite complicated in so many ways now with the strata laws, who's responsible, what the bylaws state on the strata. The first thing I always have clients check is, what are the strata deductibles on the building? So how much are you going to be responsible for if a loss occurs from your unit, whether you are negligent or you're just being considered responsible because it happened from your place? Mm-hmm. So we see them from $5,000, which is a good deductible for water, and I've seen them as high as $200,000.
Yeah.
Most insurance policies will generally only cover up to $25,000. But if we have a special case and we know they've got a higher limit, we'll go to the market and try to find a company that will give them those higher coverage limits. Mm-hmm. So they are available. So that's when you're buying condo insurance, premium really doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, if you paid $350 or $700, but you don't have that extra $50,000 that you needed in coverage, the savings aren't worth it.
Yeah. So another piece of that then too is covering yourself in the event of a special assessment. So not water damage, but they're repiping, recarpeting, you get assessed, or even if it's leaky.
So those are actually things that aren't covered by insurance and a lot of people aren't aware of. Mm-hmm. So unless a special assessment is what we call an insured peril, then it's not going to be covered by your insurance. It's the same as owning a home and having to do regular maintenance in it. So a special assessment is just basically a maintenance that you're doing on the place. So insurance isn't intended to cover for the maintenance. Mm-hmm. But where the special assessments may come in is if there's been damage to the roof. And then all of a sudden we've had special assessments on garage doors where there's been a lot of damage to a garage door. It has to be redone. And then each unit owner gets a bill and you can submit back to that. One of the ones that we're concerned with in Vancouver right now, obviously, is earthquake.
Yes.
So if an earthquake were to occur, how much are you going to have to pay from the strata's deductible?
Yeah.
So most strata deductibles have anywhere from a 10% to a 20% deductible on earthquake. So that could be a couple of $1 million that each unit owner is going to be assessed. So let's say it's $1 million assessed over 10 people. So how much of that are you going to have to pay? Will your insurance cover that? Will your condo insurance cover that special assessment because of earthquake?
Yeah.
A lot of companies don't have the coverage for it.
No, I know in my personal experience in buying earthquake insurance or having that conversation, they talk about what my possessions are within my home, you know, the little glass structure that might fall over that I bought in Italy, as opposed to, wait a second, I am, based on my unit entitlement within the building, responsible for a portion of the building as well.
Yeah, because most people don't have the contingency to set up to pay for that, and that's not what the contingencies are even intended to do.
No.
So when people are saying, well, the strata will pay for it, you are the strata.
True.
And when you think about it, so where does something like that get paid from? From you personally.
Yeah, it's that conversation of, well, where are my strata fees going? They're going off into the abyss. It's like, no, they're paying for your building as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So too then, if you have coverage, say you're in an older building and you've bought it from someone who's put in new cabinetry, new flooring, spent a mint to do that, you've paid a premium to buy into that unit. Now there's a flood or a fire, and if you just have a basic coverage, you're only going to be or have replaced what was originally built in that unit. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. So your betterments and improvements are really important. So the first thing I always ask clients is, how much is your contents? And they're like, well, how do I know? And I'm like, basically think about the moving truck is pulling up. It's dropping everything off. How much is that moving truck worth? Like, how much is in that? That's what your contents are going to be valued at. And then second, we say, how much are your betterments improvements? So how much work was done on the place? Was it gone from carpet to hardwood floors? If you just gone from carpet to carpet, it's still considered part of the strata. But if you've gone from carpet to hardwood floors, that's now a betterment and improvement. Insurance policies usually cover a percentage of that. But what if we need to increase those limits? So we always ask our clients about that. So you've got $80,000 worth of contents, but you've got $150,000 worth of improvements. So we need to
think about that.
No, and that's a question that your broker should be asking you when they're getting a quote on your policy.
Yeah. It's the first example I give when I have someone who says, oh, well, my broker quoted me, X price. What can your broker offer me? And I say, it has nothing to do with cost. It has to do with the coverages that you need. Same as when we quote your best 5-year rate. We don't do that. We ask what's most important to you, who has the features and benefits you're looking for, and here's the price.
Absolutely, and that's what I always tell the clients too. Well, what do you love? What is your thing? Like, let's say, like, we also have special limits on every single insurance policy. So if you love bicycles, and let's say you've got, like, I've got clients with $50,000 worth of bikes.
Yes.
A lot of insurance companies only cover up to $1,000.
Yeah.
Well, I want you with company A, because they may have no limit on bikes or very cheap to insure the bikes. Whereas if I have you with company C, your premium might be lower, but your bikes aren't covered. So we'll look at those little things too and say, well, besides your contents, and then looking at your betterments and improvements, and then we look at their special limits, and then figure out which insurance company is going to be the best option for them.
So talk to me about Tenants Insurance, and specifically Airbnb.
Okay, so first of all, tenants insurance, and that's for people often think they don't need tenants insurance. If there is a lot of the time I get this if they're renting from somebody privately, renting a condo. Oh, my landlord's got coverage. Well, no, your landlord is not responsible in any way for you to go live somewhere else because there's been a fire in your place. Just recently had a situation where we had a tenant, he had a claim, he's only had insurance for a few years, and for him to go live in a furnished apartment in Vancouver is really expensive. Like, we're talking $4,500 to $5,000. So you're used to paying $2,000, and now all of a sudden you've got a bill for $5,000. Well, it's insurance that's going to pay the gap under additional living expenses between the $2,000 and the $5,000. So, does that person ever become happy that they spent, $800 for insurance? It's paid for itself in the first, unfortunate that this happened. Plus all his contents have now been damaged. Yeah. If it's not, even if you get stuff out, it's still smoke. Like, you can't just wash clothes to get smoke damage out. It needs to be professionally cleaned, and dry cleaning gets expensive and things like that. And then on the other side, Airbnb. Yeah. It's still the insurance industry as of now. What are we in 2017? Still working through their issues with Airbnb. We're getting more companies that are covering it than before, but your broker needs to be aware of it. If you read your home insurance application and it asks, do you rent any portion? And you say no, and then you're renting it, you possibly could have a breach of coverage. So it's really important that your broker is aware that you're renting your place out at any time. And Airbnb just has different issues because the people are usually transient, and there's a liability portion that's attached to all insurance policies. And that's what we're always looking for, is if that person causes a loss, how do we recoup on the liability policy that that person has? And if they're Airbnb, that may not be possible. So it's just we're still working it out in an industry, how it's going to be handled. But we do have some options for clients now, which has been great. But I am advising clients, be 100% sure that you do declare it to your broker that you are doing it.
What happens if you don't? Something goes wrong.
You could possibly have no coverage. They could possibly say, this isn't what we insured you for, breach of contract.
And if you're talking about personal liability, millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big ones that I've seen in our own building was they flooded the apartment. So if their insurance, and I wasn't involved with it, but if their insurance chose to not cover them because it was Airbnb and they weren't aware of it, then all of a sudden they would be paying our buildings at a $25,000 deductible. That person would be out of pocket the $25,000 to pay for that special assessment to pay for the deductible on the building.
So if I have clients that are looking to buy a home, should they be considering their home insurance coverage at the time that they're buying or after they've entered into a contract?
Ideally, there's usually, once you know what house you're taking possession of, I'll have a lot of clients that'll make it a condition. Back in the days before real estate was crazy.
Conditions?
Yes. I would say, if I can't get insurance, I won't purchase the house. We don't get that so much right now, but it's not a bad thing. But we can look at a property pretty quickly and tell them how easy it will be to get insurance on it, or if there'll be extra costs. I always say most things are insurable. It's just a matter of where we put an exclusion in place or we put a condition. It might be, well, the roof is 30 years old. We're like, great, we'll insure it, but it's actual cash value on the roof, and you're going to have to get a new roof within a year. So the question is it budgeted?
So more of a consideration when you're dealing with a detached home as opposed to condo or town.
Yeah, with the condos, we're really mostly asking, like I said, back to how much contents do you have and how much betterments and improvements do we need to cover and what are the deductibles on the building. So condos are usually pretty simple once we figure out the deductibles. That's what I always work from first, because that's the thing that's very financially a big hit. I mean, you could go around and get used clothing easier than you can go around and get money to pay that deductible, because they are going to make you pay it.
So what about home-based business? Because there are a lot of people who work for even a portion of their time, week, days from a home office.
That's something the industry caught up with finally. Once again, it needs to be declared to your broker if you're working from home. It's part of the application process, and the application is, legal binding contract. And if you breach it, it could be considered void. It does ask, do you work from home? A lot of people work from home, but their liability is coming from somewhere else. So we've got a lot of people, especially Vancouver, they work for, Facebook, or they work for, any of the big companies, and, they're home based, but they're considered employees. So they're fine. Insurance companies are expecting us to bring work home with us nowadays. Just let your broker know, yes, I bring paperwork home. If you're seeing clients in your home, then that becomes a liability exposure. And so you want to make sure that you've got a home-based business rider or a commercial insurance policy in place. Okay. And that's also, once again, you're looking at, if you have a liability claim, I always tell people, you talk to a lawyer about anything and they're probably going to ask for a $10,000 retainer to review your account. Yes. So your liability insurance is going to cover you for legal fees if you run into some issues in so many different situations, and every policy is different. So having business insurance in place, if you run a business, is really important, really important.
So as we know it, it's great when everything goes well in any business and with any client situation. But when something goes wrong, that's when the true professionals stand out. And that's when you want to be working with someone great. So tell me maybe a client scenario or, a situation where something has gone wrong for a client and how you stand out in that situation.
Unfortunately, it happens more than I want to admit in the industry, because I think there's a shortage of claims adjusters. There's a shortage of, people getting into the industry right now. It's kind of a stressful industry in some ways, but we'll get on the phone. Well, I've been in the business for over 20 years. People know who I am, so I can pick up the phone and call who I need to and say, look, this isn't going well. You're not getting back to my client. Find out what's going on and fix the situation. So more than enough times I've had a client call me, tell me things have been stalled. I've made a phone call and the next day it's back. They've become priority number one. So that's why I always tell people a broker is so important. It's like you guys, like I can do that little extra. I don't work for the insurance company. I work for the client. I want to make sure my job is two things. Number one, you have the best coverage at the best price. And number two is if there's a claim that we're there for you, that we take care of you. We walk you through the process. Any questions come up, you can ask us. We'll help you in whatever way we can. We might make recommendations for who do we know who may have Airbnb available that you can get a furnished rental for the time period that you're out of your home and things like that. So
the referral partners.
Yeah, exactly. We use our referral partners to make sure the claims process is going well. Can we get our flooring guy in sooner than you could get a flooring guy in because, he owes me a favor for some reason. And so that's where we earn our commission because we're paid by the insurance company, not by our client, similar to you guys. Yeah. So that's where we try to, stand out because once there's a claim, you want to be taken care of.
Yeah, it's hard because it is a terrible situation when something goes wrong, but it is that true opportunity for someone to have that aha moment of now I know why I'm working with someone that is a professional and that is paid by the firm as opposed to
Yeah. Absolutely. Like there's just so many times where we've needed to help our clients and we've got things done for them that they wouldn't have been able to do for themselves.
So for my clients, like at what point would they reach out to you if they're buying a home, renewing their mortgage, midterm? Because I'll have people that will say, I've got my policy in place, and I'll say, well, that's great. Have it reviewed.
I will talk to clients at any point in the process. Like if you will have clients that may not have a relationship with their broker, and they'll be like, I have a question I don't understand. And you can say, well, talk to Wanda. She can, answer your questions for you. And then we'll make a decision. They may want me to take over their policy at renewal. So I can do that for them or look at it, because rates change once a year and I can look at it closer to the renewal date. If it's something that's really wrong, we can fix it right away. Like we can take it over and fix the account. Or if their circumstances have changed, I have this happen quite a bit where a client has decided on Airbnb and their current insurance company says, no, we absolutely don't do it.
Yes.
So we'll have them cancel that policy and set them up immediately with
People
something.
feel like it's a set term. So no, I can't do anything until the end of my year is up. But no, you can change your policy at any point in time.
Yeah, it's not ideal. We do recommend that you ride it out unless there's a really good reason to change. If your insurance company is saying, no, we can't do this for you anymore and you need to find another company, then we change it. But if it's just a matter of premium, then we're like, okay, let's talk about it when you're closer to your renewal date.
So big changes would be home-based business where you're seeing clients, Airbnb, owner to tenanted.
Exactly.
Or
those are probably the three big ones.
Jewelry.
If they suddenly
of engagement rings.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good. So how do people choose an insurance broker? So
all of my clients have been referred to me, so I don't know how the general public does it, to be honest. Obviously, I think the experience me and my team bring to the table is fantastic because we can get what we need pretty quickly and we know it's accurate. Also dealing with a company that deals with multiple, if you're dealing with a broker, someone who deals with multiple insurance companies is really beneficial to you.
Yes.
Because you can get a quote from the top two that might be really expensive, but there may be three that are a lot cheaper or offer better coverage. And not every broker deals with every insurance company.
Yes.
So dealing with a larger brokerage is really good. And, with our team, I think our clients like the personal service. They're usually getting our direct line. If there is a claim in the middle of the night, we have woken up to tell them to turn off the water and then called in the restoration company. So, I like that. But I look for people I can have personal relationships with myself. But some people want a website or some people want someone they never have to talk to. It's up to the individual.
But you can also provide that.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. You never have to talk to me.
Yeah.
I do a lot by email now. The world has changed so much that we do a ton of business by email now, and we can scan it. I love to meet people, but everyone's super busy. So if they don't want to come and meet, no problem. I've got clients who own in BC, but they live overseas. So we take care of their properties here, and we've never met, and that's never met.
So if people want to reach out to you, how do they find you?
My direct line, 604-767-4707, or our website, which should be up any day now, is simmonswoodsinsurance.ca.
All right.
And we're with Central Agencies, and you can find us on LinkedIn. We're available, and our contact information is all on there.
Fantastic. So anything else we should know about you?
I don't know.
You love what you do.
I love what I do.
You're like me, and that's why we get along so well. But yeah, so thank you for taking the time to be with us today and to podcast so our listeners can hear you. I know I had to peg you down because you are so incredibly busy.
I am busy.
Yeah, so for all of our listeners, she's not too busy for your phone calls,
No.
but I did want to say thank you very much for taking
Katie.
the time.
Glad we got to talk.
Should you have any other questions for Wanda, please do reach out or to myself, Katie Mackenzie. You can find me at MackenzieMortgage.com. Please make sure you subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. Leave us a review and share with your friends so that everyone can hear the information that Wanda's provided today. Until next time, I'm Katie Mackenzie, a mortgage professional with TMG The Mortgage Group, and your host of I Love Vancouver Real Estate.